¿Cómo está? And welcome to another episode of BuzzBugs. I'm Bert.
I'm Clay.
And we're here for, don't remember which week.
26.
26?
Week 26.
As we are dealing ever more with the encroaching terror that is the playoffs.
A lot of teams are less than 10 games.
Yeah. We only have 3 weeks left. As of this recording, I believe we only have 18 days left in the season.
Yes.
So less than 3 weeks. Yeah, that's exciting.
That's fun.
That's exciting. A lot of teams are starting to get eliminated from the playoffs.
The bottom four of the Atlantic are all out, and the top four are... Two of the top four have clinched.
Let me just pull up the standings real quick. We can maybe just give them a quick look-see at the end.
It's just Boston and Tampa who've not officially clinched yet.
Well, they will.
There is a possibility that Columbus or Long Island can take them. It's just not a probability.
That's not likely.
No.
Just giving it a quick look at this.
It's not mathematically
impossible. No. It's not mathematically impossible, yes.
Improbable.
Very improbable. Well, before we get into the action of the week, Clay, what are we drinking?
We are drinking Bell's Two-Hearted Ale.
It has a fish on it.
This is one of my favorite beers. And Bell's is one of my favorite brewers.
And it's an IPA, so we'll see how much Bert likes it. Although I think I've had this beer before.
You have.
Yeah. That's okay. That's not the worst IPA I've ever had.
They're from Comstock, Michigan, so Detroit.
Yeah, close about as close as we can get to Detroit, unfortunately. Yes. But yeah, I'm going to start us off this week, and we're going to start in the East with the Metro. Carolina went 2-2 this week.
Yeah, they did.
So a little, not rough patch, but middling patch for Carolina this week. They did lose to Buffalo, who is white hot, I know. They're not winning every game, but they are
on fire.
They're staying in every game. We'll get to them when you talk about them. Then they beat Buffalo, so they split games against Buffalo this week. Then they lost to the Islanders, excuse me, and beat Anaheim to round out the week. They were 0 for 10 on the power play, 12 for 13 on the penalty kill. You know, one of those is good, the other one isn't. They are overall 47, 18, and 8. They are first in the Metro.
Not by a lot.
Not by a ton. But they are still holding on to first in the Metro currently. Jordan Staal, their captain, is their top player this week. He had 5 goals and 2 assists. Big week for old man Jordan.
He had a hat trick against Anaheim.
Mm-hmm.
And I think seeing that goal, it was only like the first goal he scored was only like his 16th.
Yeah, he hasn't really scored that much this year.
Crazy.
I think
he was scoring more.
I think they made him the captain basically because he's one of the more tenured players there. Yeah. Excuse me.
Oh, and by no means being a captain means you score the most.
It's not. But like a lot of times the captain is just quote unquote the best player. Now, not that they don't deserve it now, but like Crosby and Ovechkin, they're clear leaders in the. But like McDavid, all of these guys were made captains when they were very young.
Mm-hmm. Even Eichel.
Eichel too, yeah.
It's a lot of pressure for a teenager.
It's a lot of pressure for a teenager. I think McDavid became the youngest captain.
Something like that.
Whenever he was named captain at like 19 or something, which is ridiculous. He shouldn't have been the captain. He beat out Crosby, who was named captain at 20, I think, which was also ridiculous.
Neither of them should have been captain.
Probably not. Now
now's different.
And now is different, but at the time, probably not. But anyway, Jordan Staal, real good week for him. That's it for Carolina. Columbus had the exact same record, 2-2.
Mm-hmm.
They lost to Boston. They beat Philly. They lost to Philly, and then they beat Detroit. 0 for 13 on the power play. 14 for 14 on the penalty kill. Very, very similar week to Carolina.
Yes.
They beat and lost to a team, the same team.
Yep.
Yeah. Unlike Carolina, their record is 34, 33, and 6.
Yeah, it's a little different.
Zach Werenski is their top player this week with a goal and 4 assists.
Yeah.
Columbus hasn't been technically eliminated from the playoffs yet, but they're gonna soon.
Yeah.
So
it's just
they're just gonna.
It's whether or not
they're trudging along to the end of the season.
The bottom couple teams get a couple more points. Or
we can look at it at the very end to figure out points away they are from being eliminated, but they got to be getting close at this point.
100%.
A team that has been eliminated and has been eliminated for at least 1 week, the New Jersey Devils.
Yep.
Who went 1-2 this week.
That was a big win that they had.
Yeah, they did lose to the Rangers. Got stomped by Montreal. And then they beat Dallas, who is in a playoff hunt, so that's a blow to Dallas, certainly.
Big one.
Yeah. They were 0 for 7 on the power play, 6 for 9 on the penalty kill. 25, 41, and 6 are the Devils.
Yes.
Nico Hischier is their top player this week with a goal and 3 assists. Pretty good week for him.
Good for him. That was a game. He got the game winner against Dallas.
He did, with about a minute left in that game. As for injuries, they have quite a few. Jack Hughes, Jonas Siegenthaler, and Miles Wood are out for the rest of the season, which is only a few more weeks,
right,
with a knee, hand, and hip injury, respectively. And then Jimmy Vesey is out for about a week with a leg injury, but who knows? Maybe they'll just be like, you're just done for the year too. Can't really blame them at this point. They're out of the playoffs, so there's no need to rush anybody back from injury. That's it for New Jersey. The Islanders went 1-2 this week. If they ever had a dream of catching Washington or Boston,
that was it.
They can't have weeks like this. But this might have been it. This might have been the death knell for them, because they were getting a little close to Washington, not super close, but like maybe within 10 points.
Yeah.
Where you could be like, ooh, if Washington goes on a skid, the Islanders could catch him. Not now. They lost to Dallas. They did beat Carolina. And then lost to St. Louis as well.
Well, I mean, those are 3 tough teams. I know.
It is, yeah.
I know if you're trying to make the playoffs, you got to beat those teams.
Yeah.
Especially, like, how the beginning set them back.
Yeah.
But
I still think the Islanders are ripe for a bounce back next year. Just because, much like Vancouver, if they had even begun the season 500, they would at least be much closer to the playoffs at this point.
Oh man, Vancouver's quick aside.
Yeah.
To the point that
the
past 2 months, Vancouver's power play has been operating at 30%.
See if they had been doing that for the majority of the year.
I think it's 30 or 35%.
That's really good. Yeah, that's really good.
They've gotten the top power play in those past 2 months, which is
well. You know who doesn't have a power play like that is the Islanders, who went 0 for 7 on the power play this week.
About right.
They did go for 10 for 10 on the penalty kill.
Well, that's good.
Not a big week for power plays, at least for these first 4 teams. 33, 29, and 9 are the Islanders.
I'll change that up when we get to some of my teams.
I think some of my teams did better on the power play too, but these first 4 did real bad on the power play. Where was I? Much like Columbus, they're kind of all but eliminated at this point.
100%.
And they don't get a top player this week because they didn't really have anybody that was a standout to me. Moving on to the other team from New York. Hold on, my pens are in. There we go. The Rangers went 3-0 this week. They beat New Jersey, as they should. They shut out the Penguins, and they beat Ottawa. Yeah, 2 for 6 on the power play. Only 6 power plays. Only 6 penalty kills, too. 6 for 6. 6 for 6 on the penalty kill. Hold on one second. Just take that over there, Ruth. Okay. We just don't need Ruthie getting all wound up in the wires. Igor Shesterkin, I know you'll be surprised to hear this, is their top player of the week.
Who would have thought?
2-0 this week. He got that shutout. And 0.5 goals against average. Only let up 1 goal in 2 games this week. 0.981 save percentage.
He's crazy.
For the guy that's probably going to win the Vezina this year.
And then Chris Kreider has 49 goals.
He does, yeah, he does. And you know what? Artemi Panarin had a pretty good week too, but I had to pick one of them.
Oh yeah.
Right, I'm trying to not be like all 8 of these guys had great weeks this week.
I can't do that for some of my teams.
There's one team I could not do that for. The Philadelphia Flyers, who are also eliminated from the playoffs, went 1-2 this week. They lost to Columbus, and then beat Columbus, and then lost to Anaheim as well. 0 for 10 on the power play, 4 for 5 on the penalty kill.
That's a bad power play.
Yeah, well.
What are the Rangers doing on the power play?
2 for 6.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Philly is 23, 38-11. Sure, they would love to forget about this season.
Yeah, 100%.
I'm sure they're just counting down the days until however many more games they have left. Excuse me. They don't get a top player.
Nope.
Sealer is week to week with a lower body injury, and McEwen has no timetable with a head injury, which is no good. You never like to hear stuff like that. The Penguins did not have a good week. Speaking of playoff teams that maybe needed to do better this week, the Penguins have had a nasty schedule the last 2 weeks, and unfortunately they've dropped a bunch of those games. They lost to Colorado. They got shut out by the Rangers. They lost to Washington, but they finished off the week with an overtime win over Nashville. So, at least they beat Nashville. And those other 3 teams are playoff teams that are all on fire right now. So, no shame, but, as a Penguins fan, I'm sure myself and a bunch of other people would have liked them to at least win one of those other games. They were 0 for 9 on the power play, 12 for 13 on the penalty kill. No top player this week for them. 42, 22, and 10.
But Crosby has 1,400.
Yeah.
He doesn't get. I know he's
okay,
not a top player.
Well, why don't you let me finish my thoughts, Clay?
It seems like you were moving on.
It wasn't.
Oh.
Sidney Crosby scored his. Fine, he's the top player this week for the Penguins. Shut up. Crosby scored his 1,400th point, among other points, against Nashville this week. Not only doing that, he scored the overtime game winner. And in scoring that overtime game winner, he tied Yager for, I think, second all-time in overtime goals. And is, unless I'm mistaken, in sole possession of 38 points in overtime, which is the most of all time. Yeah.
That's crazy.
That is pretty nuts. So I guess Crosby's the top player since Clay. Being mouthy.
Stole your thunder.
Washington had a very good week, going 3-0, within striking distance of the Penguins now. They beat Tampa Bay, they beat Pittsburgh, and they beat Boston. 3 for 11 on the power play, 9 for 10 on the penalty kill, both great numbers.
Yep.
40, 22, and 10 is Washington.
Finally hit 40.
They did. And John Carlson is their top player this week with 3 goals and 5 assists.
Yeah, he had a good game.
Yeah, he had a good week.
Yes, he did.
He didn't have all those points in one game.
4 of them were.
That's not all of them. Oh, I'm done with the Metro now.
Yay! Go Metro! Alright, I'm going to start off in the Pacific.
Alright.
Because the Pacific is getting spicy.
Bye, Ruthie.
We're going to start off with Calgary, top of the division.
Okay.
4-0 this week.
Damn.
And they
Look
stayed
at them.
strictly divisional.
Staying hot, hot, hot.
Beating LA, Anaheim, San Jose, and Seattle.
Wow.
They were 1 for 10 on the power play. 15 for 70 on the penalty kill.
That's a lot of penalties to be taking.
Yes, a lot.
I guess it was in 4 games, but still.
A lot of penalties.
Yeah.
6, 3, 3, and 5 were those 4 games.
Whew.
Yeah.
It's a lot. It's alright, that'll go away during the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
I should have had Markstrom, but I didn't actually calculate his save percentage. But
Nah,
Johnny
it's
Gaudreau had 2 goals and 5 assists in those 4 games.
Nice.
He's
having a great year. Like, really.
Fantastic.
Yeah. He's having
a great time to, like,
he's having a big,
year.
it's his contract year. He's the captain of Calgary, I think, right? Isn't he Calgary's
I
captain?
don't know if they have one currently.
I think it's Johnny Gaudreau. Maybe I'm wrong. You know what? No, it was Giordano before. No, I think you're right. They don't have one. But contract, yeah, like you said, contract year. It's a good bounce back from the last couple of years where he wasn't really playing that well. And yeah,
honestly,
good on Johnny Hockey.
Their top line is just on fire. Matthew Tkachuk had, I think, Johnny had 7 points. I think Matthew had 6 points in those 4 games. Like, that top line is on fire.
En fuego. The Flames are en fuego.
The Flames are en fuego. Let's see if that doesn't sizzle out in the playoffs.
Yeah, that's how I feel about a lot of these teams that are, like, really doing well right now. Yeah, that's good, but it really has to carry over to the playoffs. Yeah. You know, can Just for example, can the Rangers keep this up? Can Washington carry over this momentum? Can Carolina keep it up?
Calgary, can Edmonton, really anybody.
And Toronto. What's going to happen if the scoring starts to dry up a little bit for these teams? Calgary, I think, might be able to handle it because they have Markstrom.
Yes, they have a very solid defense.
Yeah, but for some of the other teams, I don't know. We'll have to see.
Exactly. Calgary is 44, 19, and 9.
Damn. It's a good record.
Yeah. In second place in the division, there's a change from last week.
Is it Edmonton?
Edmonton is second in the division, going 2-0-1.
Yeah, they have gotten their shit together. They heard my rants.
Yes, they did.
They did. They heard me. You're welcome, Edmonton fans.
Beating San Jose in overtime, the Kings in regulation, and losing to Colorado in a shootout.
Yeah. Close game.
They were 0-6 on the power play, so they did all that without their power play.
Hey, look at them.
7 for 8 on the penalty kill.
It's pretty good.
Connor McDavid,
of course,
and Evan Bouchard were the two players because they both got 3 points.
Oh, the defenseman Evan Bouchard.
Yes.
Cool.
3 points is the highest points total.
Oh wow, they're
games.
Spreading it out too. Look at them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
McDavid had 2 goals and an assist, and Bouchard had 1 goal and 2 assists. They only scored 6 points in those 3 games.
They still won.
But they only let in
winning tight games like that. That's what you're gonna have to do in the playoffs.
100%, and they only let in 4. So
get used to it now.
Exactly.
Edmonton.
42, 25, and 6.
They turned it up.
The team that didn't is LA. They are dropping out of the second place. Went 0-3, and they're in a threat to lose their playoff spot because Vegas is right behind them.
Oh, yeah.
Vegas is only 2 points behind them right now.
Interesting.
0-3, like I said, against Calgary and Edmonton. Losing
2 tough games, yeah.
2-3 to both. And then they blew a 3-point lead, losing 6-3 against Minnesota.
Oh, yes, they did.
So
yeah, they did.
Not what you want.
Nope. Can't be blowing leads like that.
They went 2 for 12. Meh.
That's okay.
6 for 7, which is good.
Yeah, that's fine.
But they are 38, 26, and 10. They are dealing with injuries.
Yeah.
Again, a lot of their top players are injured, but that's almost everybody.
They're skidding a little bit. They gotta right the ship.
They need to bounce back week if
they want to hold off Vegas and stay in the playoffs.
Because Vegas went 1-1 this week.
Yeah.
Losing to Vancouver and then beating Arizona.
Yeah, they did.
And they lost to Vancouver in the same way they beat Arizona.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Good. Go Vancouver.
0-6 on the power play for Vegas. 2 for 4 on the penalty kill for Vegas.
Okay.
Both bad.
Yeah, not good.
Brady McNabb, I'm going to give it to him because he had a goal and 3 assists in those 2 games.
What a guy to be your top player.
Whatever.
Yeah, whatever.
They are 40, 29, and 4. So, again, they are coming up fast on the Kings.
Yeah.
Which LA is not a fan of.
Nope. I wouldn't be either.
I'm just going to move on to Vancouver because last week they had that 0-2-1 week. They kind of knocked them out.
Yeah.
This week they went 3-0.
Hey.
Kind of brought them right back.
Maybe.
Back into it. It's possible.
Never say
not
never.
likely. They beat Vegas 5-1.
You gotta believe.
Well, Vancouver, you can never really bet on because they're always a team that'll fail.
They'll break your heart.
They'll fail at the finish line. They'll trip over nothing.
They'll break your heart.
They beat Vegas 5-1. They beat Arizona 5-1, and then they beat San Jose 4-2.
Nice. Good week for them.
4 for 12 on the power play.
That's great.
And then 10 for 11 on the penalty kill.
Also good.
Elias Pettersson with 3 goals and 4 assists.
Nice.
I also want to shout out Alex Jason.
Wow.
3 goals, 3 assists.
That's a name I haven't heard for a long time.
I know, right?
Yeah.
3 goals and 3 assists, including the game winner was last week. But
good week.
Yeah, good week for him. Jason's just one of those players who's super talented but can't score worth a damn.
Yeah. He's like Carl Hagelin.
He'd be an elite player if he could just score.
Yeah, if Carl Hagelin could just score a fucking goal. like more often, he'd
be a monster.
Be worth $10 million.
Exactly. So Vancouver is keeping their playoff hopes alive. They're slim, but they're there.
Still there.
A team who has just been eliminated is Anaheim.
Well, yeah.
They went 1-2 this week. We've kind of talked about all the games.
Oh yeah, we have.
Losing to Calgary, beating Philadelphia, losing to Carolina. This is why I knew about the Stahl hat trick because I watched this game.
Yeah.
2 for 8 on the power play. 5 for 5 on the penalty kill.
Those are both good.
Yeah.
Too bad their 5-on-5 numbers were, I'm sure, much worse.
Well,
Excuse
Gibson faced 42 shots against Carolina.
That's a lot of shots.
And faced, I think, 35 of them by the second period. So
Christ.
they tightened it up in the third, but yeah. Trevor Zegras did have 3 goals and an assist, including a game winner.
He's pretty electric.
Woogie.
Yeah, he's a good young player.
He's just so fun to watch.
Yeah, hopefully the league
protects him.
Starts making it more fun.
Yeah.
To be in the NHL.
Hopefully.
So you don't get punched when you skill it up, like that idiot announcer was talking about.
Ugh. They are 29, 33, and 12. They are officially eliminated.
Mathematically eliminated.
This team,
R.I.P.
has
Ducks.
not been mathematically eliminated yet. It's San Jose.
But they're behind the Ducks?
Yes.
Oh, they must have games in hand.
2 games in hand.
Okay.
They lose one of them and they're out.
Yeah.
But
sure that'll come this week.
They still haven't been mathematically eliminated.
So
they're
you're
still in it.
saying there's a chance.
They went up to it.
Everybody put your money on San Jose now.
And I talked about all those games with the overtime loss against Edmonton, lost to Calgary, lost to Vancouver. They don't get a top player.
All right, yeah.
Straight up.
Yeah.
2-11 on the power play. Nah.
That's okay.
12 for 12 on the penalty kill.
Hey.
Pretty good. They are 29, 33, and 9. Poor Shark team.
Sure, they'll be eliminated this week.
Poor Ocean teams. Because Seattle's up next. 1-2 this week. Losing to St. Louis. Shutting out Chicago.
They did.
Grubauer got a shutout. And then getting trounced by Calgary. 0 for 5 on the power play. Not a lot of power plays. 12 for 14 on the penalty kill.
That's okay.
It's okay, but if you're only getting 5 power plays, don't take 14 penalties.
Yeah, that's a good point.
23, 43, and 6 is the Seattle Kraken, and I am done.
Well, Ruthie would like to give her thoughts on it since she just climbed into my lap. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good job. All right, get down, please. Sorry. I love you too, but we're doing a thing. She loves whenever I'm doing something. She knows when I'm doing something. Like this, or
I need some focus.
Playing Dungeons and Dragons or something, and that's when she's like, I need attention now, please.
Please? You never give me attention outside of it.
Yeah, oh yeah, she's totally...
Completely
neglected. Oh, what a little goblin you are. Anyway.
Something else is completely neglected.
The Arizona Coyotes! They went 0 for 3, and not only did they go 0 for 3, but they only scored 1 goal in each of the games, losing 5-1 to St. Louis, 5-1 to Vancouver, and 6-1 to Vegas.
Yeah.
Hey, there's the Arizona we know.
And love.
0 for 6 on the power play, 4 for 7 on the penalty kill.
Skilled up for those college kids.
22, 45, and 5 is Arizona.
Hey, they hit 22.
They did. You know what? Give them some credit. They do not get a top player.
No, they don't.
In fact, I wrote LOL when I was doing my notes. Another team that is dead, basically, is the Chicago Blackhawks. As you just mentioned, they got shut out by Seattle and then lost 6-4 to Dallas.
That was it?
0-2 this week, yep. 1 for 6 on the power play, 1 for 3 on the penalty kill. 24, 37, and 11. Boo, Chicago. That's it. Colorado. Sorry, I got too close to the mic there. Colorado, on the other hand, went 3-0. They beat Pittsburgh. They beat Winnipeg. And as Clay mentioned, they beat Edmonton in a shootout. 1 for 8 on the power play, 6 for 7 on the penalty kill. 52, 14, and 6 is Colorado. Hot damn. Hot damn. And as for their top player, they actually had so much depth scoring that I literally could not pick out of like 9 players who had between 3 and 4 points. And also Darcy Kemper had a great week too.
Right,
so
100%.
It's basically their whole team. Their whole team had a good week. Dallas had a 2-2 week. And I know one of these losses, they probably wish they hadn't lost to that team because they're really bad. They beat the Islanders. They lost to Toronto. No shame. They did lose to New Jersey, like I mentioned before. And then they beat Chicago. 41, 27, and 4. I believe they are currently holding on to the last playoff spot in the Western Conference.
They are.
3 for 12 on the power play. That's fine. 7 for 9 on the penalty kill. That's meh. Jamie Benn is their top player this week with a goal and 4 assists.
Jamie Benn.
Yeah, you don't like Jamie Benn.
Well,
he's kind of a dirtbag.
He is a dirtbag.
Yeah. Minnesota did not have that great of a week. 1-2 this week. They lost to Nashville. They lost to St. Louis, but then they came back and beat LA. They were 2 for 11 on the power play, 4 for 9. 4 for 9 on the penalty kill.
That's bad, man.
44, 21, and 6, so they're not really in any trouble of dropping out of the playoff spot. However, they're the seeding within the division is getting. I believe they lost their second spot. We can check that at the end, but yeah. Kaprizov and Spurgeon were the only people that did anything this week, and each of them had 4 points.
Good for them. Yeah, Spurgeon did
had a good week.
well.
Kaprizov's having an amazing season.
Oh, 100%.
So he is worth that contract that they gave him.
Yep.
So that's good.
At least so far.
This year.
Yeah, this year he's worth it.
I think it's $9.5 million. Is what was the contract that they gave him?
For how many years? Was it 8?
I think it was only 5 or 6. I don't think it was 8.
No, Ruthie.
But he's like a young guy too, so I don't know. He's playing up to that contract this year.
Yes.
By far. Nashville went 2-1-1 this week. They beat Minnesota, like I just mentioned. They beat Ottawa, lost to Florida, and then lost to Pittsburgh in overtime. 41, 26, and 5. They're pretty well entrenched, I believe, in the first wild card spot right now.
Gotcha.
They were 4 for 14 on the power play. It's pretty good.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
And 13 for 14 on the penalty kill.
That's very good.
Yeah. They had 2 top players. Roman Josi had a goal and 5 assists this week.
Josi's insane.
He maybe should win the Norris this year.
Yeah.
He is like on a torrid pace scoring.
He might hit 100.
He might. He's getting close. He broke Nashville's record for scoring, and he's a defenseman.
Yeah.
He broke that this year. And Johansson had 5 goals this week.
Good for him.
A guy that's not usually a big goal scorer.
No,
usually he's more of an assist guy, but 5 goals this week for him.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, McCarron is week to week with an upper body injury, so hopefully he can get healthy for the playoffs. St. Louis went 4-0 this week. 4-0. They beat the tar out of Arizona and Seattle, won a close game against Minnesota, and then beat the crap out of the Islanders too.
Yep.
They went 3 for 14 on the power play, 7 for 7 on the penalty kill. Only took 7 penalties in 4 games.
That's crazy.
That's
very
real good for them. 42, 20, and 10 is St. Louis. Let me just do some quick math. 84. I believe they are tied with Minnesota currently in the division.
The Central's crazy.
Yeah. They had a bunch of top players this week.
Of course.
Couldn't pick from. Robert Thomas is their top player. He had 3 goals and 5 assists. He has been on fire the last few weeks.
Yeah.
Nick Falk, Vladimir Tarasenko, and Pavel Buchnevich all had 6 points each this week.
Man.
Yeah, so St. Louis had a great week.
Man.
So hopefully they'll keep up that thunder that they're bringing into the games.
Thunder.
And carry that over to the playoffs.
May the power of Bon Jovi be with you.
My talk is so weird. She's like right
She's
now.
mad that I won't let her jump up.
Yeah. Winnipeg went 1-2 this week to round out the Central Division. They lost to Detroit. They lost to Colorado, and then they beat Ottawa.
Yeah.
I don't know that if Winnipeg is mathematically eliminated yet, but they're getting pretty close if they have not been.
I don't think they are.
I don't think they're quite eliminated yet, but they're getting pretty close to being eliminated. They were 3 for 10 on the power play. Pretty good.
For them, yeah.
8 for 11 on the penalty kill. Not as good.
Nope.
Nick Ehlers had a great week.
Yes, he did.
3 goals and 4 assists. That's the Central Division.
Cool.
Yeah.
I think they also might have lost Schleichly.
Oh, really?
He left the Ottawa game, and it looked like it was with a separated shoulder.
Oh, it might have, where I was looking, it might have still been reported as day-to-day. They might still be evaluating it.
No, he's not on the IR yet. But it looked, I saw that hit, because I watched a lot of hockey yesterday.
Yeah.
I mean, I was flipping through games, but every one of my teams lost that I watched. So that was
yesterday?
fun.
That's funny. Very funny.
But, it looked like Schleichly, solid body that just looked like it separated shoulder.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That sucks.
All right, we'll go on to the Atlantic, which is kind of in the same boat as the Central. It's getting a little dicey.
Getting a little tight.
Especially between 3rd and 4th.
Okay.
We're going to start off with Florida, because they're
Florida.
top, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
They're only 1 game behind Colorado.
Oh, really?
That's why, yeah.
Interesting.
1 loss less. 51, 15, and 6.
God damn.
Yeah!
I said god damn.
Because this week they went 3-0.
Oh, yeah, they're only 2 points behind Colorado.
3-0 this week. Coming back down.
I said god damn.
Beating Toronto. Being down 4 goals. To force an overtime win.
Yeah.
7-6.
That's crazy.
And honestly, Toronto has a history of blowing big leads.
Oh, yes. Yes, of course they do.
I don't count this one.
Okay.
This one, it seemed less like Toronto getting in their own heads and blowing a lead.
Mm-hmm.
And more like Florida just turning it up to 11.
Gotcha. Florida has that next level.
It was 5-1. Florida came back and tied it. And normally...
Didn't they do that last week, too?
Yes, they did.
Against New Jersey, yeah.
Yes. And that one...
That's terrifying.
That one, it was 6-2. And they came back, tied it, and won it.
And won in overtime.
This one, they were down 5-1, brought it back. And normally, Toronto would have folded, like a stack of cards. Toronto actually scored to retake the lead.
But then let it be tied again.
Let it be tied, and then lost in overtime. So, that actually, to me, or actually, I think Florida might have taken the lead, and then Toronto tied it to force it to overtime.
Yeah.
That's something that we have not seen from Toronto in
No.
a long time.
Toronto does have a little bit, seemingly more fight to them.
It's nice to see.
It's nice to see, finally. But for Florida, that's not incredibly sustainable either.
No, it's
Coming
not.
back from 4+ goal deficits to win.
No, it is not.
I mean, it's good to see that you can do it. That is not something
what you want.
don't want to be coming back from that
Not
much.
Not in the playoffs.
Not in general. Not in the regular season either. Honestly.
I mean, in the regular season, it's just because you don't want to give your fans heart attacks.
Right,
In the playoffs,
right.
it's not sustainable.
Yeah.
But that was a massive game. They beat Buffalo 4-3.
Mm-hmm.
I will say they scored the winning goal with like 30 seconds left. Otherwise, Buffalo was good, forced them to overtime.
Wow.
Yeah. And then they just, stomped out Nashville.
Yeah, they did.
So 2 hard games that they came back to win.
Nashville's a good team too.
So Florida is terrifying because of that.
Yeah, I think they're the team to beat in the East, like, clearly. I mean, Carolina's very good too, but I don't know. Florida is just a monster. And they're going to get Ekblad back at some point in the playoffs, so that'll just make them even worse.
Yep.
Well, better.
5 for 11 on the power play.
Ooh, doggy.
Unfortunately, they were 9 for 13 on the power play.
No, that's not very good.
But it was mainly the Florida game. Not the Toronto game.
The Toronto game.
Yeah. The is really what it comes from.
Hmm.
Giving up 3 power plays against Toronto. So
yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah. Of course, I have to have multiple top players.
Of course.
Because John Huberdeau and Sasha Barkov both had 7 points.
Jesus Christ.
3 goals and 4 assists for Huberdeau, including that game winner against Toronto.
Mm-hmm.
And then Barkov had a goal and 6 assists.
Christ.
And Sam Reinhart had 3 goals and 3 assists.
That's one whole line right there, right?
No. Reinhardt's on the 3rd line.
Oh my God.
I agree.
It's horrifying. Boy.
It's like they're
monsters. They're the sexy pick to go up against Colorado for the Stanley Cup.
Yep.
But that's not always what happens.
No, because right now Toronto, they've actually clinched.
They have, yes, I saw.
3-1 this week.
Mm-hmm. They've been playing well.
They're
getting overshadowed by Florida, but
that overtime loss against Florida was the only loss.
Yeah.
They beat Tampa 6-2. Dallas they beat in overtime, and then they beat Montreal.
Yep, as they should.
They should. 4 for 16 on the power play.
Oh boy.
11 for 14 on the penalty kill.
That's not great.
No.
The power play's good though.
Yes. They are 47, 19, and 6.
Yeah, they're good.
And the reason they're good is Austin Matthews.
Yeah.
Right now.
Yeah. Austin Matthews is a monster man right now.
In those 4 games, he had 4 assists.
Mm-hmm.
He also had 7 goals.
Yep.
He scored his 51st goal in 50 games.
Mm-hmm.
He became the Leafs' all-time goal scorer.
Single season goal scorer. Yeah.
Yes, all-time single season goal scorer, and then became the American single season.
Was on the same goal. Apparently, the record for both of those was 55.
Yes.
And so he eclipsed it with his 56th.
Yep.
Yeah.
He's on pace for 70 goals.
He might get it.
The record for goals scored in the Cap era is 65.
Mm-hmm. It was Ovechkin.
And the Ovechkin, I think that was the year he won the Hart.
It was 2012 or something like that.
Yeah. I think that was the year that...
I don't think that was that year. I think that was the year Ovechkin won both of them.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, either way. Yeah, Austin Matthews is on fire.
Yeah. Again, will that carry over to the playoffs? Maybe. It could. Maybe not, though.
Mitch Marner is feeding him. He had 3 goals and 6 assists.
Yeah.
So, the chemistry that they have is excellent. So,
hopefully
they can keep that alive.
Oh, yeah.
It's just whether or not, drawing penalties it comes down to that.
The playoffs are always weird about scoring. Sometimes teams just keep scoring in the playoffs for at least a little while. But eventually everybody starts getting beat up.
Mm-hmm.
Penalties stop being called. They start allowing teams to basically just hold on to guys. So scoring usually goes away in the playoffs. But who knows?
We'll see.
Matthews is a uniquely talented player who is on fire right now. Just a note for the 50 goals in 50 games. He's the first player to do that since Lemieux in 94 or 95, something like that. Since the 90s.
He is the first person to do that
since Lemieux. Yeah. And the actual record might have been.
Yeah.
The actual record for that is, of course, held by Gretzky. He scored 50 goals in 39 games.
Which is just stupid.
Just insane. I'm certain we will never see that again.
Oh my God, no.
But yeah, he's having a hell of a year.
He's just on fire.
He would be my bet to win the Hart. No disrespect to Shesterkin, which I know a lot of people would be like, oh, he could win the Hart. Yeah, maybe
he could.
You could make an argument for it, but the way that Matthews is playing, I don't think that he doesn't win the Hart.
He kicked that into another gear.
Yeah.
These past couple months, which is terrifying. But what's really funny is, as of right now, that first round matchup is against Boston because they're 3rd in the division. 2-2 this week in Boston.
Oh man! You know what? If they play Boston in the first round and win,
off their back?
That might be enough.
That might be the fire.
That might be the fire that they need, because you look at something similar in recent years when the Capitals finally beat the Penguins in the playoffs.
Yep.
They went out and won the Stanley Cup easily. On the
100%.
Stanley Cup, they walked through the rest of the playoffs.
I don't know, but Tampa was rough.
Okay, well,
But
they won the Stanley Cup.
They walked through Vegas.
They walked through Vegas, yeah.
Either way, so Boston right now, third in the division, with 2-2.
Okay.
Overtime win against Columbus, like you said. They lost to Detroit, but they beat Tampa Bay in overtime and then lost to Washington, like you said. They were 0 for 16 on the power play.
They had 16 power plays and didn't score on one of them?
16 power plays and didn't score a single one.
That's unbelievable.
And they won 2 games.
Well, yeah, you know. Props to them for 5-on-5 play then.
I mean, it took overtime to win both of them.
Yeah, but hey, you know what? A win is a win, especially at this time of the year.
What's good is while they had 17 penalties to kill, they killed 16 of them.
That's a lot of penalties.
I know.
That's a lot of penalties, both for and against them.
It's absolutely insane. 16 for 17 on the penalty kill.
So in those 4 games, there were 33 power play or penalty kills. It's crazy. It's a lot.
The lowest amount of penalties that they took was against Washington when they only took 2. They took 5 in all in each 3 games before that.
That's not sustainable either.
Not at all.
Not if you're playing Matthews in the first round. Again, now they start calling penalties a little bit less in the playoffs, but they still call them.
Yeah, if they're
just not. I would be surprised if they call 5.
Right.
And that's not us agreeing with that. That's also, just how it is.
Matthews, those 7 goals, only 1 was a power play.
Never mind. I would not really want to play Matthews, at least not in the first round.
Not right now.
Unless, I don't even, never mind.
No, you don't, we're not going to speak that either.
You know exactly what I was going to say. I don't want that, yeah. You guys listening, you probably know what I was going to say too, but Boston. I don't want to speak that into existence.
Charlie McAvoy had 5 assists, so he's their top player. He had 5 points.
Oh, that's good. He's not usually a big scoring defenseman.
Also, Lindholm and Pastrnak missed this entire week.
Really?
Really. I think Pasta might have missed or left the Columbus game early, but he didn't play the rest of the week. So
hopefully that's not serious.
He's not on the IR. He's just listed as day-to-day.
Okay.
Day-to-day, and same with Hampus Lindholm. They're just listed as day-to-day. But those are some big losses.
Yeah, hopefully, well, if you're a Boston fan, hopefully those guys get back, because they're going to be super important come playoff time.
Incredibly important. Yeah. Moving on to Tampa. They went 1-2-1 this week.
Yikes.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tampa's skidding a little bit. Kind of like the Penguins. I mean, the Penguins are having a little bit of a rough patch.
Well, it's because...
Did they play a murderer's row of teams like the Penguins did too?
Yes. Yep. It was Toronto, Washington, and Boston.
Yeah, that's rough.
That overtime loss was against Boston. That was 3 of their losses. And then they shut out Buffalo.
Yeah,
going back the next 3 weeks, the past 3 weeks, they've played, I believe, 7 other playoff teams, and they only won 1 of them.
Yeah,
that was a Carolina overtime win. Yeah,
it's interesting. That's almost a mirror of the Penguins. The Penguins, I believe, the last 3 weeks have played many playoff teams, including 2 against Colorado and 3 against the Rangers. And I believe Washington and Nashville and Minnesota, I think, and the only games that they won in that stretch were Nashville and Minnesota. So.
Well, at least they picked up a point against Colorado, right? Am I right?
No.
Oh, I'm thinking of a different team. Sorry.
They were close to it, and then they gave up a late goal.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But
Same thing against Washington too. That Washington game, Washington ended up beating Pittsburgh 6-3, but realistically it was 4-3. There was just 2 empty net goals.
But yeah, Tampa's not picking a good time to skid.
Yeah, but here's the thing. I wouldn't count out Tampa Bay.
Oh, I'm never
heading into the playoffs.
Never gonna count them out.
No.
I personally think they're not gonna three-peat, but
no, they just don't. They just don't feel like a 3. No way. Unless they run the table the next couple of weeks. But
and I mean weak compared to the other teams.
The East is just so powerful this year. And what's funny is if you take Colorado off the top of the West, almost all of the East teams would be leading the West right 100%. Now. Yeah, it's insane.
So like we talked about, their only win was against Buffalo, which they shut them out 5-0.
Yeah.
Elliott did go 28 for 28 in that game. It wasn't even Vasilevsky.
It's pretty good.
Vasilevsky, so that's good. That's what you want to see from a backup, even though he won't play in the playoffs most likely.
Well, unless the worst happens and Vasilevsky gets injured or something.
It's not a possibility.
So let's hope not for Tampa Bay's sake.
Tampa Bay was only 1 for 12 on the power play.
That's pretty bad.
9 for 11 on the penalty kill.
That's also not super good.
They don't get a top player.
Yeah, that's fair.
44, 20, and 8. It's a good record, but...
I mean, they've all but clinched the play. I mean, everybody in the East that has a playoff spot is just waiting to clinch at this point. But yeah, they're gonna be a wild card and maybe play either Florida or Carolina.
Well, they're still in a spot to take the third spot.
I know, but they're in a tenuous position right now. So, it's kind of a choice between do you want to play Toronto or do you want to play Carolina? Because I don't think they'll
have a history, which is fun.
That's true. I don't know that they'll fall back far enough to Washington, but maybe we'll have to see.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's close. We're going to move on to Detroit.
So
now the rest of my teams have been mathematically eliminated
from
the playoffs.
Oh, yes, they have.
Starting with Detroit, 2-0-1 this week.
Hey.
Yeah.
They got a couple good wins, too, right?
Yeah, they beat Boston.
Yep.
They beat Winnipeg. And that loss was against Columbus, like you talked about.
Yep.
They were 1 for 10 on the power play. 12 for 12 on the penalty kill.
Hey, that's pretty good.
That's very good. We have 3 guys with 4 points. Sam Gagner had 4 goals.
It's Gagne.
Dang.
You did this before, too, earlier in the season.
Really? Well, I put him because, I never talk about him.
I mean, it's a really funny name, but it's Gagne. Gagner.
I like Gagner. No, Gagne is
It's Gagne.
Way better of a name. Jacob Vrana had 3 goals and an assist.
Hey.
And then Dylan Larkin, you haven't talked about him for a while.
That's true.
2 goals and 2 assists.
Well, he's been their top player most of the year.
Yeah,
Larkin has. But it's been a few weeks.
It kind of dried up since the All-Star game.
I think Detroit, their future is bright. 100%. I think they have a bunch of good young players. They have Larkin, who is their captain. They have Cedar, who is a great defenseman. Lucas Raymond. Nedeljkovic, Vrana. They have some stuff there. They just got to put it all together.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's Detroit.
Probably some cap space too that they could add somebody in the off season. Yeah.
We're gonna go to Buffalo. So they had a bad week. They went 1-3.
Yeah, but they were pretty close in all those games.
They look good.
Yeah.
Except against Tampa. They beat Carolina. Like we're talking about, they beat and lost against Carolina.
Yes.
And then they lost that very tight game against Florida,
and
they got stopped by Tampa Bay.
They did.
It happens.
It happens. Happens to the best of them.
2 for 12 on the power play.
It's not bad.
6 for 8 on the penalty kill.
Yeah.
It's not great. They had also 3 guys with 4 points in those games.
Good for them.
Olofsson had 3 goals and an assist. Jeff Skinner had 2 goals and 2 assists, and Tage Thompson 1 goal, 3 assists.
That monster.
32 goals this season.
Buffalo's another team I'm hazarding to guess might be better next year.
It looks like.
I mean, I say that all the time about Buffalo. I just kind of want them to be better next year. But, Tage Thompson has been a monster this year.
So good.
Tuck has been great since coming back from IR. Skinner is playing like his old self again. Olofsson is a good player.
They had to get rid of Paul Kruger.
Yeah, Kruger seemed to be really hampering that team.
100%.
It's, they got a big question mark in goal. They don't really have a goalie.
No.
They have Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen, but
for the future,
who knows when he is going to be ready.
Exactly.
Their defense is kind of suspect, but it should be better.
Dahlin's been playing very well.
Dahlin is good. That kid Owen Power They just signed to his ELC, and he's supposed to play this week, right?
He's going to play tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow, and so I mean that'll burn a year off of his ELC, which is weird, but whatever.
Based on his age, when he signed the ELC, even if he didn't play, he'd burn a year off.
Whoa. Okay.
Yeah, that's what Cap Friendly said.
Yeah, well, whatever. I mean, he's still a young guy. He'll make his debut tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
He's not like a dynamic scorer from what I know about him. He's like more of a defensive defenseman. So,
which isn't bad for...
maybe a perfect pairing for Dahlin.
Exactly.
Maybe you got your 1 and 2 right there. So, yeah, Buffalo, we'll see how they do next year. See if they make any moves in the offseason to maybe shore up goalie and defense. But
yeah, 100%.
They could be better next year. I don't think playoffs.
No, but just give it in 3 years. I think
if they build,
it's going to be even more of a bloodbath.
If they can build correctly, I think Boston is in the next few years. I think Boston is going to take a step back, just because of age.
Yeah.
At least in that division, I think Florida is going to be a monster.
Same with Tampa.
I think Tampa will probably take a. I think they'll still be a playoff team, Tampa, but they might take us. They might be closer in striking distance to other Atlantic teams.
But with you have promising looking teams like Detroit and even Ottawa.
Yeah, Ottawa should be on the upswing too. Yeah, that division's going to be tough in the coming years. Not Montreal though. Maybe Montreal.
Maybe. Not likely.
Depends on what they do in the offseason.
100%. We're going to talk about Ottawa right now. 1 and 3.
1 and 3.
Beating Montreal, losing to Nashville, losing to the Rangers, and then losing to Winnipeg in a close game as well.
Yeah.
They are 26, 40, and 6.
Yeah.
And some interesting stat lines. They were 4 for 13 on the power play.
That's pretty good.
Unfortunately, they were 8 for 12 on the penalty kill.
Not good. Kind of wipes away the power play.
It really does. Brady Tkachuk had 3 goals and 4 assists in those 4 games. So he's working hard.
Yeah,
and
that's
also
good.
Josh Norris had 2 goals and 3 assists. So
that's also good. Yeah. They have good young players too.
Exactly. So. Drake Batherson's back.
Oh, hey.
I
thought he was out for the year.
He's already day to day.
Christ.
I think someone he played 1 game.
Did they play the goalie that hurt him? I don't remember who did that.
That was Aaron Dell. He's not in the league anymore.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
He played 1 game. He took a hit.
Maybe he tweaked something.
Yeah. He's day to day.
Better to err on the side of caution. I mean, Ottawa season's over. So.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think it was the Winnipeg game that he played. So even then, yesterday.
Yeah.
Make sure to keep him healthy because he's
a
good forward in the future.
Yes, he is.
Josh Norris also hit his 32nd goal or 33rd.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good for him. He's having a good year.
Very good year on a very bad team.
Yeah. I mean, that's all you got to do. Yeah.
All right. We're going to finish up with Montreal. Who hit 20 wins.
They did it finally, folks. They did it. We did it, Reddit. Everybody has 20 wins.
They did it. 20 wins. 1 and 2 this week.
What are you going to do?
The losses were against Ottawa and Toronto, like you said. And then they beat New Jersey, like you said.
Yep.
1 for 7 on the power play, 9 for 11 on the penalty kill.
Okay.
Brent Gallagher.
Brent?
Is it Brett?
Brendan.
Oh, man, I'm thinking of someone else. Brendan Gallagher. Goalie interference per scene.
Yeah, that he is. Yes, he is that. He's very similar. He plays a similar game to guys like Patrick Hornquist.
Yeah. 1 goal and 4 assists.
He's a good player.
Cole Caulfield.
3
goals and 1 assist.
God damn.
And Christian Dvorak. 1 goal and 3 assists.
I forgot Christian Dvorak was on Montreal. Honestly,
I think
forgot.
it's the 3rd time that I've said his name for Montreal this season.
Maybe.
You've said that every single time.
I keep forgetting he's on Montreal.
So those are the top players. Unfortunately, Jake Allen got injured against the Toronto Leafs.
That
So
sucks.
Carey Price is skating.
He was actually at practice.
Yeah.
Good for him. I would not make him play this year.
In case he gets injured.
He gets injured again. But I'm sure it's nice to have him back at practice.
100%.
Yeah.
So.
If he comes back next year, that would be a big boon for 100%. Montreal.
Very much. So yeah, that's it.
That's it, huh? Well, that was a tidy, short little episode. Let's just take a quick look at the standings. Like Clay said, Florida is on top of their division right now with 108 points. Montreal 8 points back with 100.
Toronto.
Sorry, Toronto, not Montreal.
Montreal only.
Toronto,
like 50 points.
Yeah, Toronto has 100 points. You lied to me. Tampa Bay is in third place with 96 points.
All right, so when I wrote this,
was it
yesterday?
Yesterday, okay.
It was before the Toronto game.
Oh, okay.
It was before the Buffalo game. This is when I wrote this.
Okay.
All right. Fine.
Carolina has 102 points.
Lied to myself.
2 points behind them is the Rangers. They're very much within striking distance of first place.
Isn't that...
Pittsburgh has dropped back, but they still have 94 points and are in, third place in the division. Boston is holding strong with the first wild card spot with 95 points, 1 point behind Tampa Bay for the third place in the Atlantic. And Washington is holding on to... Oh my god, this beer is making me burpy. Holding on to the last playoff spot with 90 points. And they're going to hold on to that because the closest team to them is the New York Islanders with 75 points. So that's 15 points back if you guys are bad at math.
With only 11 games for the Islanders and 10 games for the Capitals.
Yeah, so it would take a Herculean effort for the Islanders to catch the Capitals at this point.
All of the Capitals to break their ankles over each other.
Yeah, it would take a lot. So even though they're technically not mathematically eliminated yet, the Islanders are pretty much done. Columbus is only 1 point behind the Islanders, but they're also basically done.
Because they only have 9 games left.
Yes, and if I am doing my math correctly, let's see. So Columbus has max 18 more points. So Washington wins 1 more game, and I believe Columbus is eliminated. Because Washington has a game in hand on them, too.
Yeah.
Because Columbus can only get 92 points max. So if Washington wins their next game, that should eliminate Columbus. Or Columbus loses their next game, that should eliminate Columbus.
That's it.
As for the Islanders, they have 11 games left, so the magic number for them to get eliminated is 97, 97. So that means that all of the teams that have not clinched yet, that is Tampa Bay, Pittsburgh, Boston, and Washington, need 97 points as it stands right now.
Yep.
To clinch their playoff spot. But, the Islanders could lose a couple of games this week, and that number will drop.
That's 1 win for Boston and Tampa.
Not even a win for Tampa. Overtime loss for Tampa would probably do it, too. Win for Boston. Pittsburgh would need 3 points to clinch, and Washington needs 7, which they probably won't get this week.
No.
But, again, I think the Islanders play a couple of games against Pittsburgh. So we'll see. We'll see what happens there. But that could be it for the... Actually, I think the next game between those... I think that's the next game for those two teams. And if I'm doing my math correctly, I think if the Penguins win that game, they probably clinch. Yeah, the Penguins clinch. So yeah, that's the East. Islanders and Blue Jackets all but eliminated, just kind of waiting on it. The only team in the West that has clinched a playoff spot is the Colorado Avalanche, who have 110 points. That's number 1 in the league right now, only 2 points ahead of Florida. Next in the Central is Minnesota, who is tied with St. Louis. Both have 94 points, but Minnesota has a game in hand on them. Calgary is leading their division with 97 points. Edmonton is in second with 90. Los Angeles is in third at 86. Nashville is holding the number 1 wildcard spot with 87 points. Dallas has the second wildcard spot with 86 points, but only 2 points back is Vegas. Now, something interesting did happen. The last time we looked at the standings, Dallas had 4 games in hand.
Yep.
And we're, I think, only 2 or 3 points behind Vegas. Now they're 2 points up, and only have 1 game in hand. So yeah. Dallas is...
He needs to win.
They need to win those games to solidify their spot. But Vegas is also within striking distance of Los Angeles, who Vegas has a game in hand on.
Yes.
And you know what? Vancouver's there at 80 points.
It's not
They're
impossible.
a little far back. Not impossible.
It's 2 wins.
2 wins away. 2 wins to overtake.
They play Vegas one more time.
Vegas. They need 7 points to catch LA, but LA's been skidding recently, so maybe it can happen. You never know.
Dallas and Vegas
not out of it yet. Do they?
Either this week or next.
Ooh, exciting.
And same
That's a
with
big game.
Vancouver.
That's a big game. Winnipeg is not technically eliminated yet, but they're at 79 points. It would take a lot for them to catch Dallas, which is who they would have to catch. Now, Vancouver and Vegas can catch LA, which seems more feasible for them, but Winnipeg is basically all but eliminated. Also all but eliminated is San Jose, who has only played 71 games, apparently. But they only have 67 points. Let's see. So they could max.
Catch.
They can. The Sharks can max out at 89 points. So once Dallas hits 89 points, the Sharks will finally be eliminated, unless they lose some more games in there too.
Well, it depends on what the Kings do too.
Oh, you're right. You're right.
That's why they're not officially eliminated.
Yeah,
yet.
LA and if LA and Dallas hit 89 coming up this week, then San Jose's out of it too. But yeah, that's how the standings are at right now. The Western Conference obviously a little bit more interesting than the East. Get your foot out of my face.
Sorry, I'm cracking my kneecap.
But thank you guys for listening. As always, we appreciate it. You can follow us at BuzzPucks on Twitter. Give us a
like, review, subscribe.
Rate, review, subscribe. Rate, review, subscribe. Tell anybody you know that likes hockey. We would like you want to build a little bit of a following. You know, we got you guys. We appreciate it, but we want more. We want more.
We want everything.
I want everything. But we'll see you next week as we get even closer to the playoffs. Who knows? Maybe the standings will be a little bit more solidified by then, but I doubt it. Because the West is pretty volatile right now. But just once again, thank you guys for listening, and we'll see you next week. Same puck time.
Same puck place.
Bye-bye.
Bye.